Namaskar. Welcome to the fifth session on Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2. Regular exposure to the wisdom of the Gita helps you stay inspired. Click the link in the description box to join Jayaji's WhatsApp community and receive inspiration, updates on talks, and more. I now request Jayaji to continue with Chapter 2.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Any questions? Yeah.
1866, Sarvadharma Culture of my Commission. I'm taking that course. It says surrender to me and I take care of everything. What there is a purpose to go through all this sort of thing about your life? Because surrender would not only help a person to get rid of everything.
Done. First of all, what is surrender? Now, what do you understand by surrender?
Whatever is happening God's will only. I am no
What is that?
Whatever is happening is only God's will. I am not nothing to do with it all.
No, that's not it.
Okay.
He says, first of all, he doesn't say surrender to me. He says, Sarva Dharman Parityaj, means surrender, give up all other dharmas. And then surrender to me. So, what are dharmas? What are the other dharmas? The dharma of the body, which is perceptions and actions. Dharma of the mind, which is feelings and emotions. Dharma of the intellect, ideas and ideologies. So, give up the dharma of the body, mind and intellect. Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Surrender to me alone. Me doesn't mean the personality of Krishna. To the spirit within me. Then I will Aham Brahma Sarva Pasita. I will release you from all sin. And I will give you moksha. Moksha is done. So, it is surrender doesn't simply mean okay, everything is God's will, so I will not do anything. To give up the dharma of the body, mind, and intellect is the entire spiritual path. How are you going to give up the dharma of the body when you are so attached to the body? Get it? How will you give up the dharma of the mind when you become one with the mind? How will you give up the dharma of the intellect when you are constantly identifying with it? Right? So, what must you do? Identify with Atman, as a result of which these three will drop, which is the entire Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So, and mind you, he's saying this at the end of his sermon, and almost at the end of chapter 18. In fact, he stops speaking after that. So, he gives the path and then summarizes in this verse. And says, I will give you moksha, don't worry. Now, why does he say don't worry? It's because human effort can go only up to that last thought. At that stage, you need to just remain there. You can't put in effort to go to realization. You can only put in effort to get to the last thought. And then remain there. That last thought will go by itself. Which is why he is saying, I will release you from all sin, all agitation. This is the same idea of Makhanjo. When you become 100% sattvic, you can't put in any more effort. So Krishna says, I will take it. I steal the butter. So don't get carried away by just the words. You must understand the spirit. Any other question? Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita speaks of mind and intellect. A lot of authors of the Western world in their itself.
Sorry, I can't hear.
The authors of the Western
No,
world.
you don't need to speak loudly and clearly. What did you say the first sentence?
Bhagavad Gita talks of mind and intellect.
Ah.
And the authors of the Western world in their self-help books mention of conscious mind and subconscious mind. Is there any difference or about the same?
Okay, the question is that Vedanta or the Bhagavad Gita speaks of mind and intellect. And in Western thought, Western books, they use different terms. But if they define what they mean by whatever term they use, then you can understand one is the mind, one is the intellect. One is the flow of thought, the other is the controlling factor. Okay? Both have to be. There's one written question. Can one grow spiritually without following any religion? Or what is the difference between religion and spirituality? So it depends on you rightly said, you have to understand what religion is. Right? If you say that the way the question is worded seems to indicate that you have to follow certain norms, certain rituals, certain do's and don'ts of a particular religion to grow spiritually. No, you don't. But you have to see, in other words, you may not be ritualistically inclined. You may not, your personality may not gel with the commandments or the norms that are spelled out in that particular religion, or in any religion for that matter. So you don't need to follow it to the T. But spirituality means moving from body, mind, intellect to spirit. It's basically that. So if you follow it the way it is spelled out in Vedanta, and you follow the norms that suit you, and don't follow the norms that don't suit you, you can grow spiritually. What you mean by religion is the orthodox, traditional method of following religion. That you don't need to grow spiritually. But you must have an alternative. You can't just give it up. You get it? Many people say, I'm an atheist. Now, for you to declare that you are an atheist, you should have followed the religion, you should have studied it, you should know it, and then discuss it. You get it? Simply without knowing anything, you say, I'm an atheist, I have no meaning. So, if you want to grow spiritually without following any particular religion, you must have an alternative to grow spiritually. Right? And if you do that, you will grow spiritually. So, if you see all the thinkers, the authors, poets, philosophers, who did not follow a particular prescribed form of religion, grew spiritually. But they had an alternative. Otherwise, we will be no guidance around that.
Basically, my analysis is religion is more just an emotional anchor, and spirituality is more of thinking, because religion does not allow you, that doesn't give you to think anything. If you're a religion, you are just
Yes,
meditate.
unfortunately,
That is the
that's what
religion which I
Yes. Unfortunately, it's boiled down to that now. But by the same token, if you use your intellect to figure out what the scripture or the religion is saying, you will see a lot of sense in that. You may see. So I would hesitate to dismiss or discard a religion completely. But yes, you have to use your intellect to figure out how you do it. Because most people follow religion blindly. So there is nothing wrong with the religion per se. There is something very, very wrong with the way we follow it. If you follow anything blindly, it is of no use, including the Bhagavad Gita. So that I know people who have attended lectures for years together, and it has made no difference to them whatsoever. On the other hand, there could be somebody who may not even attend a lecture, but is a thinker and wants to improve, will find his or her way out. Yeah.
What is the difference between intellectual approach and devotional approach?
What is the difference between the intellectual approach and the devotional approach? The very term indicates intellectual approach means you use the intellect. You question, you inquire, you ask why this is so. And only when you get a logical, rational answer, do you follow it. And the pursuit is intellectual, meaning you want to understand, you want knowledge, you want to understand how things function, and then apply these principles in your life. So this is very different from the devotion, where you just use emotions. So your love, all of us have love, right? So you love your fellow family members, you love your children, you love your parents, you love your friends. This is love. The same love, when it is redirected towards the higher, the transcendent, towards God, is called devotion. And how do you develop this devotion? Through gratitude, bhakti. Right? So you're using a completely different method to overcome desires. Remember one thing, whether it is intellectual or devotional or action, the end result should be your personality should be free from desire, the pollution of desire. Okay? So, in devotion, what happens is, because your mind is directed towards the higher, meaning a larger cross section of people. So, in your mind, you give preference to other people's desires compared to yours. Like a mother gives preference to her children's desires over her own. So, that's how her desires go down. In the intellectual approach, you understand the futility of worldly things. So the desire loses its hold on you because your attention is on the permanent. Okay?
Like Santi they all approached devotional
Yes.
and intellectual approach.
Okay. See, the examples you give, Sant Tukaram, Jnaneshwar, so on and so forth, follow the devotional approach, Bhaktiman. Intellectually, Swami Ramadeva, Swami Vivekananda, all the great sages, Vyasa, so on and so forth. So, because the intellect is a stronger equipment, if you follow the jnana, your progress will be faster. Because you don't need to wade through desires. You can supplement desire. But you must have the intellect. Not everyone has it. So it's like a niche market. Very few people are intellectual in the world. The vast majority are active. So a lot of people do karma and bhakti also. But it's not that bhakti is easy. Many people think that bhakti is an easy path to take. It's not easy.
Then this contradicts the theory that devotional versus intellect, because ultimately the last part is the intellect which has to go. So if you are just doing devotional, how will that not go?
See, a good question. So his question is, if in the spiritual path, the last instrument to go before realization is the intellect. Now, if you are using devotion, how do you get to the truth? Now, in devotion, what happens is, there are two types of intellect. One is Tikshna Buddhi, gross intellect, Sukshma Buddhi, subtle intellect. In Dhyana, where you are using knowledge, the path of knowledge, you are using your gross intellect and subtle intellect to sharpen your subtle intellect. In Bhakti Marg, you are using emotions to sharpen your subtle intellect. Subtle intellect is common between the two. So that is the last thing to go. That remains with the devotee as much as with the intellectual. Okay. Good question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? You said the devotional use the mind to sharpen the subtle intellect, and the intellectual use the intellect, gross intellect, to sharpen the subtle intellect.
Yes, you got it right. See, what happens is, in bhakti, because you are a predominantly emotional person, you find it easier to use emotions to purify your personality. So, but it does not mean that you are not using your intellect. Your subtle intellect. You know very clearly what is right, what is wrong. You know precisely higher and lower. You know transcendental and terrestrial. But such a person may not be an outstanding nuclear scientist or a great physicist or an economist. He may not have the wherewithal to overcome life's challenges using the intellect. So they are simple, like Sant Tukaram is a simple person. Jnaneshwar was a simple person. But they got to God. Whereas the advantage with the path of knowledge is that you are using your gross intellect. So that is also getting sharp. And subtle intellect is also getting sharp. So nobody can take such a person for a ride. That is Krishna's personality. He was sharp. He was 10 steps ahead of everybody else.
But don't you think that in today's world, the religion, that's not one of the reasons, but the religion is to gain this input, is being misguided because you are emotional. So it doesn't allow you to think.
Yes.
Okay? So whoever is the whom you are following, whatever is being, okay, I think most of the terrorists are because of that, because they are just following blindly what is being taught to them.
Yes, but
Because they don't want the intellect to be used. That is why religion is being promoted in this.
yes, but that is not the purpose of bhakti. In bhakti, there is no blind faith. It's not blind. It is supported by logic and reason.
Supported by.
Logic and reason. Your subtle intellect is supporting you. So, whatever it is that you're saying, committing acts of violence, a person's subtle intellect is not going to support it. And a bhakta, a true bhakta, will not follow something just because someone else has said it. You get it? Okay. So, before we continue, we'll do a brief recap of what we discussed last time. The overriding theme in those verses was Do not grieve. There is no place for grief in life. If you understand the totality, you will not grieve. It's only when you look at it from the narrow perspective of I have lost that there is grief. What must you do in life? Assess people, situations, the world, accept things as they are. Because the fundamental truth is you cannot change anything, anybody outside you except yourself. And then enjoy the world. It's a beautiful concept. When you assess and accept, you will enjoy whatever it is you enjoy. Like when you make an assessment of a person and say, only sarcasm will come out of that person. Because there is agitation inside, there is disturbance inside. So only negative things will come out of such a person. When you understand and accept, when the person says something sarcastic, immediately you understand and you're amused by it. If that person says something positive by chance, it will come to you as a shock. Right? What happened? Where did the sunrise from? So that is the key to enjoyment in life. Assess, understand, accept. Then Atman is immanent and transcendent. Immanent means it pervades every aspect of the universe and it exists beyond in its pure, immaculate, unmanifest form. So when you look at the world, you must be in a constant state of wonderment, Ashcharya. That one verse uses the word Ashcharya so many times. And lower your sense of development, your level of development, the greater the manifestation you need to remind you of divinity. As you go subtler, as you go higher and higher, you need less manifestation, and at the highest level you don't need anything. Atman cannot be killed, means the real you can never be affected, killed, hurt, or dealt with in any way. And if you carry this belief with it, because at this moment it's a belief, you don't know it. Carry the belief that nothing can hurt me, nothing can do me harm. Then you shift from being insecure, afraid. There are people afraid of every little thing. Somebody asks you for your phone number, you say, Nari, if I give my phone number, the person might abuse it, the person might. Why must you think like that? There's an employee of Facebook, one of the first employees of Facebook, a person from Chennai who was in California. And I met him. He was just an ordinary person. But because he was one of the oldest employees, and he got, what are they called? Stock options. He became a millionaire. And then came the fear that, oh, people will come and ask me for money. People from Chennai will come and ask me for a devotion, people from Chennai will come and ask me for a donation. Somebody else will ask me for financial help. So he went into seclusion and he refused to meet with anybody. He quit his job also. And then he came and said, I'm afraid. I said, what are you afraid of? Did somebody come and take away your money? I said, okay, someone will come and ask you for a donation. You are at liberty to say no, right? And what's wrong if people come and ask? See, it's like this. You are an engineer. If people have engineering problems, they will come and ask you for your advice. And you will happily give it, isn't it? you are a musician and somebody wants to listen to you, come to you, you will happily sing for the person, won't you? If you have money, why must you be afraid? And this is true of all rich people. You feel sorry for them. That's why they say, poor little rich kids. Because actually within themselves they are so poor and afraid that somebody will come and take away the money. What if you change your attitude and say, I have enough and more? I'm waiting for people to come and ask so that I may give with joy, because giving gives pleasure. Then what will happen? You think people will take advantage of you? No. Because the psychology is everybody wants to take from a miser. Suppose there is a person who doesn't part with money at all. Everybody gets together and says, "Chalo, yeah, let's extract something." But a giver, naturally you will say, no, you don't give this time, because every time you give. Isn't that what you said? Become a giver, don't fear. Ridiculous life you will live. And I actually told them this is the biggest loss that you got all this. You were a much happier person living in Chennai and ordinary middle class life. Seriously. So that is the thing. How did we get here? What was it? Insecurity. So when you say, I cannot be, nobody can harm me, nothing can harm me, then that insecurity goes. The fear goes. The sleeplessness goes. Yeah.
When the body is facing physical pain, it's not easy to dissociate the body from the.
Yes. So the question is, when you say I am Atman, it's okay, but when the body is going through excruciating pain, it is difficult to say I am Atman. True, because in the past you have millions of times you have said I am body, I am body, I am body. Now suddenly 5 times you say Atman, it's not going to make a difference. Because the identification with the body will come. But if you powerfully keep saying it, when things are okay, you can't say it when the body is going through pain. You must prepare. It's like buying insurance. When do you buy insurance? When things are alright. Your car is burned and finished, and you go to buy insurance, nobody is going to insure your car because the car is not there. So it's like that. Every morning, when you study the scriptures, keep saying, I'm not mind, I'm not body, I'm not mind, I'm not intellect. And of course, studying the scriptures. Then, when the body goes through pain, and you say, I'm not the body, it comes in handy, it helps. It helps for sure. Huh? Correct. Right? See, but you must say it before. Not while you are going through pain, then it's impossible. Okay? So we continue with verse 31. Oh, sorry, before that, we also looked at in the midst of all this chilly that is happening in the world, what must you do? What is your role in life? Because then you feel, oh, everything is fluid, everything is in a flux, then why should I do anything? So he says emphatically, in the midst of all this, just do what you have to do. Play your role to perfection, or at least to the best of your ability. And the totality will take care of itself. It's like you have a big role to play in an orchestra. You play your role to the best of your ability. Perfectly. Everyone else will do the same. And the entire orchestra will come across as beautiful. But if each musician in the orchestra says, I want a more prominent role, which is what is happening politically. I want to be at the head of it. Then there will be chaos. Very well.
Can you please clear the confusion? George, like this one thought the George Bernard Shaw said that my tailor is the wisest person because he takes fresh perspectives every time. And then the second thought is when you meet a person, you assess and accept. So if I've accepted, for example, that a person is sarcastic, I eventually, if I start viewing the person through that lens of sarcasm, how will I be able to take fresh perspective?
The question is, George Bernard Shaw, when asked who's the most intelligent person you know, he said, my tailor. Because every time I go to him, he takes fresh measurements. So it's not as if he's taken measurements last month and he go by that. Why will he take fresh measurements? Because you might have put on weight, you might have lost weight, whatever. So he gives a fresh assessment, fresh perspective. So now her question is, if you make an assessment of a person and understand and accept the person for what he is, let's say sarcastic, then you are seeing the person through the lens of sarcasm. Then how will you take fresh measurements? See, it is when you assess a person, understand the person, and accept the person, it does not mean you are prejudiced against the person. You get it? Because prejudice is a function of the mind. Assessment, understanding, acceptance is a function of the intellect. If you are using your intellect, you will not be prejudiced. You just understand here is a person who is sarcastic. And enjoy the sarcasm. You are amazed. How is it that without fail, every interaction the person has to say something negative or sarcastic? But you are not prejudiced. You are prepared. Being prepared for an eventuality is different from expecting. When you expect, it means you are prejudiced. When you are prepared for it, it means you use your intellect and you are prepared for any eventuality. This is the difference. Okay, very good.
स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धा श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Even from the viewpoint of your own dharma, duty, you should not deter, because there is nothing higher than a just war for a kshatriya. Now, it changes track completely. Because so far he has been speaking of Sankhya Yoga. Up to verse 30, 11 to verse 30, he's been giving knowledge of indestructibility of the soul, of the spirit, Atma. So the subject in these verses, 11 to 30, is Atma. Now he shifts to you. Why does he shift? Because he's understood that all of us and Arjuna are, they said, fatigue that has set in. Because when you talk of too high of a subject, which you don't quite relate to, don't understand, for more than a certain period of time, fatigue sets in and you lose focus. Your concentration slips. So quickly, he comes back to Arjuna's level. Who is Arjuna? A man of action. So these verses, 31 to 41, speak of perform your duty. You're a warrior. Warrior means in our context, here, people of action. Why are we active people? Because we have desires. There is that load of desires that we are carrying that are demanding fulfillment, which is why you're running around, isn't it? And you have a just war. For a Kshatriya to have a just war, a righteous war is a treat. And it's fallen in his lap, he's not asked for it. And it is his Swadharma. So when all these come together, it's like, let's say, music is your Swadharma. You're a good singer. And then we have lectures on the Bhagavad Gita. And you come and offer and say, may I sing bhajans before the lectures begin. So what are you doing? Music is your Swadharma. You're an active person, but here is an opportunity to do something righteous, something for a cause. And it's fallen in your lap and it's just happened. So why should you not do it? So, but when you don't know the totality, like Arjuna doesn't know the totality. The totality means the whole universe is functioning in a particular way. Everybody's vasanas are functioning in a particular way. And this is a natural outcome of the law of karma with various people. It's absurd to take a stand and say, no, I will stand up next. Yesterday, a person who is very active in climate change, is very passionate about it, feels very deeply about it. And so one of the things that he does is promotes veganism, because meat eating is the greatest contributor to climate change. But he doesn't understand that it's not just his actions or the actions of our people that is going to make a difference. What if the earth moved a few miles towards the sun? All your action on climate change is that and the other is going to come to naught. And I believe in the past, millennia before, things like this have happened. Ice, suddenly the whole earth froze. So you have no control over it. It's a good thing to do it. Yes, we can do a lot to prevent climate change. But to take on that responsibility and say, no, I will make sure that it will happen, is wrong. Because he's just setting himself up for a lot of frustration. You get that? Similarly, we are doing our bit to transmit the values of the Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta just so valuable. We are passionate about it. We are trying our best. But to take the stand that we will eradicate unrighteousness is ridiculous. Right under Krishna's nose, all kinds of things happen. Who are we to take the stand that I will eradicate unrighteousness? You get it? But within this, whatever is happening, since we don't know the totality, what must we do? Just do what we can. That's all that we can do. So, when you interfere with the totality, when you're looking at the totality and you're saying, oh, he should do this and somebody else should do that, what are you doing? You are not playing your part. You're not doing what you want to do. You're only passing judgment on others and you're messing things up. That's all that happens. So, understand, each one must do his or her bit. Do your bit. Don't complain about others not doing. Because you don't know what their bit is. You get it? You think other people should do something, but he may not consider it his bit. So who are you to interfere with other people? That's the crux of this. The greatest of people have just done what they wanted. And they haven't passed judgment on others. William Shakespeare did what he had to do. Wordsworth did what he had to do. Swami Ramadevkar did what he had to do. Vivekananda did what he had to. Ramakrishna did what he had to. And so should we do what we ought. What do you know? You don't even know what's going to happen next year. You are on the verge of moving to 2025. How do you know? All you know is that you have taken from society. You are a hopeless debtor in life. You should be grateful for what you have received, what you got, and do your little bit to be grateful. That's it. Be grateful for what you got and live it. And if you do your bit, you'll be fine. Similarly, Arjuna is sitting there passing judgment on what the Kaurava should be doing, or what Krishna should be doing, or what anybody else should be doing. And in the bargain, he lays down his bow and arrow, says, I will not fight. Next verse, 32.
यदृच्छया चोपपन्नम् स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
O Partha, those Kshatriyas are happy to whom a war like this comes unsolicited, opening the gates to heaven. You know, in the first chapter, Arjuna says, we will incur sin and go to hell if we engage in this battle. Now he's saying, if you do your dharma in a war that has come to you unsolicited, you will be happy and go to heaven. Complete opposite. So, the Kshatriya nature is to fight for righteousness. Fight is not necessarily an armed battle. It includes that. But the nature of a Kshatriya is to take action. And the intellectual, Jnani, doesn't do that. It's not in his nature. He will sit, contemplate, and then decide what action will be the best, how to transmit knowledge to people. He won't go out there and act. That is what a Kshatriya does. So, that is Arjuna's Swadharma, but he's not doing it. Why must he do it? Because he's full of desires. And to him, if he performs action dedicated to a higher cause, his vasanas will drop, his desires will drop, opening the gates to heaven. Heaven means not a physical location, a mental state of mind where you are at peace with yourself and happy. So, like Oliver Goldsmith said, I felt a secret pleasure doing my duty without reward. Without reward means not that the reward will not come, but he found pleasure in just doing his duty and not looking for a reward. So the reward is in the action. Is in. No, I don't know whether you experienced it. When you know you have to do something, obligation, and you perform that to the best of your ability. When it's done, you have a quiet sense of satisfaction at what had to be done has been done. It's not even an egoistic thing that I have done. It's just that it has been done. And you go to sleep peaceful. Have you experienced that? That's what it's talking. 33.
अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
He drives it. If you do not take on this just battle, you will incur sin, having failed in your duty and honor. So, to us, it may not mean so much, but to a warrior, it means a lot. You feel in your duty and honor because to a warrior, to a head of state, honor is a reputation, means a lot. So in 32, he says, if you do the right action, you will go to heaven. In this verse, he's saying, if you fail in your duty and you perform the wrong action, you will incur sin. Sin is not in the action. Sin is in the reaction in your mind. So when you perform an action, let's say two people don't perform the same action. One person's mind revolts against it and agitates your mind. Then it is sin for that person. The same act performed by another person does not agitate the mind. It is not sin for that person. You get it? Typical example, eating non-vegetarian food or giving a bribe. One person says, no, it's wrong, and my conscience does not permit it, I will not do it. If he doesn't, it will agitate us. Another person said, this is part of life, and you have to add it to your expenses. I will do it, and it's quite easy. His conscience does not bother him. To him, it is not a sin. You get it? You have a problem with that?
Whatever action he performs, there are consequences he will have to try.
See, yes, what she is asking is, whatever action you perform, you have to bear the consequences of that action. Yes, physically you have to bear the consequences. Like if you put your finger in the fire, your finger will be burnt, whether your mind is agitated or not. You get it? So, let's say, whatever action, of the example that we saw earlier, it may not agitate your mind, but the physical action and the consequence you will have to bear.
That can no validity goes out the window only. It's like just over an example. One guy would feel he could have a reaction and the other guy most time and then it would be very difficult at times.
See, you are doing it from a superficial standpoint. You are asking, so then morality goes out the window. But if you examine what was said, if your conscience permits it, then it is not sinful.
I get the point.
No. You asked a question, listen to the answer. In the end, it is the conscience that is the ultimate indicator of what is dharma and adharma. It's not man-made laws that determine. During the independence movement, there are people who broke the law. The British were the ones who had laid out the law, right? There were people who broke the law, but they followed their conscience. And so their mind was not agitated. Would you call it a right action or wrong action? Okay? On the other hand, there are people who followed the British law to the T. And like for instance, policemen beat up their fellow Indians. Is that a right action or wrong action? You get it? So, in the end, it is your conscience that determines. Now, when you say that, if a person who does not consult the conscience, his mind will still get agitated. You get it? It's not that it is not his conviction that this is the right thing. He just does it for convenience. then it's still wrong because his conscience does not permit it. That's the catch. And if you don't follow your conscience, the consequences are going to be terrible. They can't sleep in peace. All kinds of things.
But isn't the conscience of everyone the same when it comes towards the spirit?
No. The question is, isn't everybody's conscience the same? Definitely not. Everyone's conscience points towards the higher, yes. But everyone's conscience is not the same. You have different levels of awakening of the conscience. So what you think is right at this moment, and you're on the spiritual path, you evolve. 5 years later, what you thought right now, you will think completely wrong. Because your conscience awakens. Today, it is drowned by desire. So desire dictates. So, if the action boomerangs back on you as mental agitation, then it is sin. And it is going to happen to Arjuna, is what he said. So, what is right action? And this is very important because this is what he's talking about and this is what we need to know. Number one, you must perform your Swadharma activity. Follow your Swadharma. Number two, within the area of your Swadharma, fix a higher ideal. Number three, and while you're pursuing it, you should not be distracted by likes and dislikes. You shouldn't be driven by likes and dislikes. Even within the area of your Swadharma. Then your desires reduce and what you're doing is right action. Now you look at any action you perform today. Does it fall within this? Very few. So what are we doing? Increasing desires. You give one example. And then we figure it out. Wrong action is where you perform paradharma activity because of various reasons. You may join medical college or an IIT or IIM because you think there is money in it. Then what happens? You're frustrated, you're irritated, you're agitated. Then whatever you do is from the viewpoint of your personal interest. What's in it for me? Profit motive. And you're driven by likes and dislikes. You do what you like to do, you avoid what you don't like. When you perform action like this, desires increase. All this makes for wrong action. And if you take a look at all our actions, most of them fall under wrong action. So instead of using action, instead of deploying action as a means to purify your personality, what you're doing is adding more to the muck that is already there. It's like what happens. The sewage system is supposed to, or the drainage system is supposed to take water away from your homes. But when the streets are flooded, rain, there's water everywhere. The same dirt that is supposed to leave your home now re-enters your home. Have you seen Marine Drive when it is after heavy rain? Tons and tons of garbage comes back to us. This is what we are doing with our personalities. Because you don't see it, you think it's fine. So, what must we do? Number one, identify yourself. Number two, within that fix a higher ideal and work towards it. Don't act on likes and dislikes. Don't ask anybody what are they doing, what are you doing? Oh, this weekend I'm going to Alibaba. For what? Just to chill. Why don't you chill here? I'm not saying you should not go to Alibaba. Wherever you go, ask another person I'm going to go. Ask a third person I'm going to Spain. There's no method in the madness. And then a whole lot of money is spent. Look at the foreign exchange drain of the country just because people are holidaying abroad. Why are you going? Why? Because I want to show off. I want to take my friends. I went to Spain. I went to what is that other place? Strange places. Because it's not hip to say I went to Simla for a holiday or Panchayani for a holiday. You do this, and what you're going to do is what happens on Marine Drive on a rainy day. All the garbage is going to come into your perspective. When you view it like that, then you're getting that. But when you identify a sadhana, fix a higher goal in that, there's a direction to your life. Then everything you do makes sense. So whatever you do, if it helps you to move towards your goal, which is spiritual evolution, you do it happily. If it takes you away from your goal, don't do it. Why must you do it just because everyone else is doing it? Diwali, I go play cards. Why? Everybody plays cards. Okay? Think. All those hours that are spent in pursuing your likes and dislikes, if only they were used for some meaningful purpose, the whole city will change, the country will change, the whole world will change. If each one of us just follows this, this is a very powerful verse. And there will be harmony in the world, no battles. Lawyers will be out of jobs because there will be no conflict. Why is there conflict? Because if nobody is following their Swadharma, there is no concept of the hierarchy. You just perceive your likes and dislikes. And that will not even your likes and dislikes, somebody else's likes and dislikes. Your neighbor's likes and dislikes, you are pursuing. Because you think it's the same thing to do. So sin is not in the action, it's in the reaction. Action per se is neither good nor bad. Any action. And apparently bad action, if it doesn't agitate the mind, it is not sin. By the same token, on the face of it may appear to be good. But if it agitates your mind, it is bad. Swadharma actions dedicated to a higher cause purify your system. Then perform dynamic, efficient, potent action which helps the entire world, Loka Sangha. You don't know what impact it has. One person just quietly doing his job, his or her job, with beauty, with grace, with elegance, becomes a role model. You don't know it, but it happens. And you're happy because you're unselfish. You know the law. All unselfish people are happy. And vasanas reduce. So why will you not perform such actions? Remember that. What is right action? Three things.
Which does not execute our mind.
Swadharma. Then
On life and
higher goal in the Swadharma. Number 3, don't get distracted by likes and dislikes. People are dreaming over. Just now we said it. Children concentrate with it. I just said 1, 2, 3, and I'm asking you to repeat it. And the result will be, I'll give up if you don't have the answer. Huh?
no conflicts in the
Vasanas reduce. Did I say it wrong? What is wrong action?
wrong way of constructing your
First thing.
Your conscience doesn't forget.
What is right action?
What
Paradharma. Wrong action is paradharma. Then, second, no, I think you're following just your personal agenda you have. Number 3, likes and dislikes. Result is Vasanas increase. Excellent. One person is more. See, pat, sugar, all 4 points. You know, the thing is, you come here, you listen. If you're not able to recollect simple things, how are you going to implement? Get it? Next verse.
अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते.
People will always speak of your infamy, and to an honored person, infamy is worse than death. Now, before we continue this verse, word of caution. When we say what is right action, follow the Swadharma, higher ideal, don't get distracted by likes and dislikes. And the fourth is, the result is, desires will reduce. In this, it doesn't mean that you should be all, stressed out. Is this my Swadharma? Is that my following lesson? Take it easy. Suppose in the midst of that, on a Sunday afternoon, you're doing all your best, you have a little time, you decide to go to a movie, or you decide to go to a restaurant to eat, or whatever it is. You don't have to sit there and label, is this my like and dislike? Is this my Swadharma? It's not that. It's not that you should be all tense. But if you consistently perform actions which take away from your goal, then you're never going to reach the goal. It's like a cricketer. That is his field. Okay, that's his Swadharma. He needs to pursue cricket. And suddenly he comes across, in America, everyone plays pickleball. So he starts playing pickleball every day and neglects cricket. Then that is wrong. Do you understand? One thing is okay. It's like, I give an example. Many years ago, many years ago, when I had first taken to this field, I realized that every Sunday afternoon I would go with the family to the club. We have lunch there, relax. After a while, I said, what am I doing? So easily 3.5 hours of my life are taken away in activity that doesn't mean anything to me. It's not as if I was excited about it. It had just become routine. So I decided to cut it. And when I cut it, 3.5 hours every week opened up to me. See, that is what you have to do. Activities that you do on a regular basis, which take away your time, which really mean nothing to you when you're doing it for whatever reason, because it's become routine. That you should think. Now, this is something that I was already doing and I started doing. But the worst is, you start something new. You have never done it in your life and you suddenly start doing it. It doesn't make sense. So, now, there is a shift here from philosophy to the mundane, absolute mundane. Because if you're following your conscience, if you're performing the right action, then it doesn't matter what people think. What is he saying? The people will think ill of you. In short, this is what he says in this verse. So if I were Arjuna, I'd say, so what? What difference does it make? Let people think whatever. This is what a person who's following this Dharma, who's doing the right action would do. But it works with Arjuna because Arjuna is dependent on what other people say. And there are a lot of us, most of us, are dependent on public opinion. Like, often our actions are driven by what will people say. And that is so flimsy because what people say keeps changing. Arjuna has value for it, so Krishna uses it to drive in the right action. Now, to a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. In fact, death increases your honor. Like, see, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. In that assassination, his value went up. That is why when there is a wrong doer, you say, don't assassinate, leave him alone, let him die a natural death, he won't become famous. So that's the thing. And honor comes, how does honor come? Not because people talk about it. Honor comes through unselfish action, sacrificial action. But Arjuna is in a state where he has value for this, so Krishna is happily making use of it. There is a sharp change in style which shows that Krishna is catering to Arjuna. And in any communication, psychology plays a very important role. So it's not enough for you to just speak the truth. You should know how to present it. You should know when to say it. You should know what to say before and after. Particularly where it is important, like a parent communicating to a child, or you're communicating to a spouse, or where it's an important communication to an employee. How you say it, what words you use, what examples you use, all of this matters. So you don't just speak to impress people, you speak for impact. It must have the right impact on the listener and must be beneficial to the listener. Next verse, 35. Yeah.
When you do the right action, which is what the 3-4 points of solar your heart for the other person, with no ill intention and with clarity of thought and everything. 99 out of 100 times your actions for it. You used to get the result because you're doing it with a full form. What about 100 times you don't get the desired result? Maybe in your work or maybe in your family or wherever. How do you explain that 1 out of 100 action going wrong? The other person's karma or previously or whatever.
In fact, see, when you're looking at what is right action and what is wrong action, nowhere does it say what the result is going to be. Why? because the result is not in your hands. So, throughout the Gita, he maintains you have a duty to act only. You have a right to act, not to its fruit, result. So, okay, so you may do it perfectly. You are working in the field of Swadharma, you have a higher ideal, you are not functioning on likes and dislikes, but the result will not come. That doesn't mean your action is wrong. It is right action, but maybe before your time, Oliver Goldsmith, a poet of such outstanding caliber, was thrown out of his home by his landlady because he did not have the money to pay his rent. What a sad situation. Even in our country, I believe former Prime Minister Jaya was also driven out of his home because he didn't have money to pay his rent. Can you imagine? So, these things happen. Now, why it happens is your collective karma, your past. But you have no control of it. That doesn't mean you are not performing right action. Because the actual fruit that should accrue from right action is what? Desire reduction. Once this happens, you've got the fruit. Doesn't matter what the externals.
How do you know whether desires are reduced?
You don't know. You will know only in the future. Immediately you don't know. So therefore your focus should be only on these three points. Swadharma, I did not attain of excellence.
Is it possible that you do all three for years and years and then the result comes much later? So
The question is it possible that you do all this, perform right action, and the result comes much later? It is possible, but it's fine. No, it's not that it's not happening. It's happening in every action. Your desires are reducing, but you don't see it. You only see when there is a sudden impact or a sudden expression. Then you say, "Oh, I don't have this." It's like titration. In chemistry, you do titration. There is a liquid in a puree which you are releasing drop by drop. At least you should be releasing drop by drop. And in a flask, there is another chemical which is also a colorless liquid. And drop by drop, you release it. And you must have the patience. Otherwise, you release too much, the whole experiment is gone. So, 39th drop, nothing happens. 40th drop, there is a sudden precipitation. So, what has caused the precipitation? Not the 40th drop, all the drops together. The only difference is you don't see it before. It's happening, you don't see it. So, similarly, personal growth. For a long time, you may not see any difference in your personality. And suddenly there's a meteoric rise, which you see.
Very nice kind of thought. You've done all the three things right. The result is not in your hands. Ignorance, that is failure. How does the person deal with a situation like this? Like he then becomes everything right. Failure is still taking place. Understandably that it's not in your hands, but how does the person deal with it?
See, you must examine what you're saying. You are saying a person does everything right. Right action follows all these three points. And the result is failure. Now, what do you mean by failure?
Failure would mean And if you're working for a certain company, the thing collapses completely.
What do you mean by failure?
Not getting the expected results.
Financial failure, or you don't achieve the sales that you had expected. Worldly failure. Correct? If you remember, what we said is the fruit of right action. What is it? What is the result? Desires reduce. So desire, if you do everything right, 100% desires will reduce. The rest is a matter of detail, it doesn't matter. See, we are conducting lectures everywhere. How many times we announce Wednesday class we are having at Bhagavad Gita? Same people are coming. I should be the most depressed person. Huh? Even Bharati Vidya, hardly anyone is coming. So, but what gives us the inspiration to continue year after year, day after day, is the fact that if you do these three, I'm not talking personally, I'm just generalizing. If you do these three and you are assured that the result will come, you do it. You're not looking for a worldly result. That is not what you want. Okay? Now the corollary to that is even the worldly result will come. But after a period of time, because you don't know what your past is. So in the immediate present, you may be a failure. Losses might happen, whatever. But keep going, keep at it. That's the only way to do it. No, the best of people, again and again, the best of people die paupers. The best authors, the best poets, the greatest musicians. But their music came alive after the painters. The people who went and we look around, the best of painters died paupers. But after they left, they were immortalized. That is life. Because people in the world, the thumb rule in the world is people appreciate only mediocrity. You come up with exceptional work in any field, they just don't understand it. Because the vision is only this much. So if you are dedicated to perfection in your field, you're not going to look at what is the audience that has come, or how many people are following me, how many people are liking me on social media. That is the worst thing to look at. So a person of caliber does not even look for all this. Ustad Bismillah Khan, when he was conferred the character, when he was invited abroad, he said, "Look, I'm very happy in Banaras. I don't want to." He was given all kinds of awards. It meant nothing to him. Because to him, his Chennai was his baker. And he considered his talent a gift from Lord Shiva. Nath Ji ka prasad. To a man like that, what are you going to do? You see, he was just dedicated to excellence. What a simple man. I don't know whether you've seen his videos. There's a childlike innocence on his face. Amazing person. What fruit. And even if people went to him and said, you played brilliantly, you think he won't affected by that? Because he understood that the person who says the brilliant doesn't understand music. What is he going to say brilliant? What is he going to teach? You must, once you understand this, you yourself will never look for success in the world. This worldly success is so transitory, so impermanent, so stupid. And fame is the even worse. You know, one guy says you're good, so everybody claps at you. Everyone says you're good. That guy drops you like a hot potato, everybody eats you. This is what is happening. And that one guy doesn't even understand what you do. There is no clue. Sorry, I'm sick. Shall we end with a prayer?